welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition, to another installment of hashtag Fade to Black. It's good to be back for me, but other than that, I'm joined by Anita Joke, aka Teach, and Mayo,
Evening.
aka Money Never Sleeps, Mayo. How everybody doing?
Doing
Doing
wonderful,
great.
wonderful.
Mhm.
The
Yeah, this is
weather is
Soul.
good. I'm feeling good, and it is Friday.
Hey, can't beat that. Then not to mention your background. You're in Tanzania, and I got the regular logo and everything. Must be nice. But it is great to be back on the show. I'm fully vaccinated. That second shot really knocked me out. So Wednesday obviously was no show, but I want to catch up with everybody, as well as I got some breaking news which I want to share. But since I know how Teachers Mayo is, they got some good opening statements, and they would take the wind out my sails. But I'm gonna let them take the lead. So I'm gonna let Teach. I'm gonna let Teach take the lead on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Here is our opening statement, and Teach, you are up.
Good evening. Good evening. How is everyone on this first Friday of June? Do you know we are in 21? Can you imagine it? How the days go by so quickly. Well, I'm in a good mood today, and I want to talk about being in a good mood. Life is life. Life contains death. Life contains disappointment, and every mode to bring your mood down and your attitude. But what can you have inside of you that can do away with anything? We have to be resilient, and that's where we find our strength. When we decide that we are not going to allow the elements outside of ourselves, things that we cannot control, we're not going to allow them. So what if you got laid off and can't pay your rent? So what if you were driving your car and it got into a wreck? So what if you are sick on your sick bed? Is that to not bring a smile on your face, especially when the sun shines each and every day? I've gotten into the habit when I go to sleep, I tell God, thank you for the moonlight, because within that light, there is a gift. There is something to be thankful for. And I thank you in the morning when the sun rises, because no matter what happens in that day, no matter what state or condition comes my way, I can still thank you. Because as the old folks say, the same wind does not blow in the same direction all the time, knowing that a change is going to come. So whatever your current circumstance, you know that eventually with time, you're going to heal from that sickness. You're going to get a new job, a better one than you had before, or even go into business for yourself. You see, after you lost your job and you fell ill, there was a plan for you to rise up and recognize that these were not things to bring you down, but they were old things that needed to be cleared out of your life. And now that they're cleared out, new things can. And it's hard to hear that. It's hard to hear it when you're going through it. But I will say that as time goes on and you live your life and you're able to sit and reflect back on a decade, on 2 decades, 3, 4 decades, 5 decades, then you realize that all those things that brought you grief, that brought you pain, also brought you growth, also help you develop your inner character, also help you stand and toughen you up for those hard moments in your life. See, life is not always going to be easy. Easy, come easy, go easy. But when you work for it, you go through pain and suffering. You learn lessons on how to root yourself and make yourself be the best version of yourself. Because who can be you but you? Who can be you but you? Only you can be you. Only you can stand the test and trials that the universe brings to you. Only you can be successful in those trials. So it's for you, given to you, so you can master the situation and stand above and receive the gifts either by night or by day to make you the best version of you for that day. And each day can get better. Each day can get better. I look forward to perfecting myself. I look forward to perfecting my personality. I look forward to healing the wounds of the past. I look forward to growing and gathering wisdom and knowledge and understanding from the situations that I have found myself in that I felt was so grievous against me. I look forward to finding the wisdom, because each time you find that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, they're actually jewels that you can put in your crown. And when you have finished placing the jewels in your crown, you can put your crown on your head. And no one can doubt your crown. No one can take your crown, because it is the crown that you created, and it's the crown that you placed. It is the crown that you testified in and testified for. Ladies and gentlemen, wear your crown. Design your crown. Be your crown. Understand your crown, because you are your crown and your crown is you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I yield the floor.
Well, I don't know how to follow up with that. That's a lot. That's a lot of good stuff right there. Thank you, Sister Anita. I'm gonna use my message, opening message for the day, as what I had yesterday in my running. Every day when I go running, I have a message of the day. And yesterday, I was while I was running, I was thinking about folks who have been before me, and folks who are going to come after me. But in particular, folks who have been before me, the soundtracks of our lives, it has come from people like Sam Cooke and just other singers who have been around. And the one thing that caught my attention the most is a brother, that we, you know, um, all know, in the sense of we all know his music, Curtis Mayfield. And yesterday was his birthday, of course. You know, um, it's just, I love music. There's soul music, and that made me think about some of the music that I appreciate that he's made. Like to keep on more, keep on pushing, and move on up. And just singing through the struggle. So it makes me think about the struggle that we're still dealing with today. We're still dealing with struggles today, in spite of the fact that we are now desegregated. We're integrated. We're still within that. We still have issues. We're still being shot on the streets, and we still have black folks being bought, and sold in the sense of representation, taxation without representation, and some of our elected officials are black doing it. We have the issues of the far left, sorry, the far right, you know, still being still representing the Governor Wallace of the old days. Our challenges come from so many different places, including from our own community as well. We still have our young men and women, being um, plucked off the streets by sometimes by law enforcement agents, which is horrible, and sometimes by our own selves. So, we think about all that, but all you can do is if you can allow yourself to use that same spirit and vibe from back then to keep on pushing, and then to move on up, it'd be good. So my message was for everybody to keep on pushing, move on up, and don't let today or disappointments of today get you down. It goes in line with what Sister Anita was saying. That, today we have a lot of encouraging words for you guys to keep moving, keep pushing. Focus on the positivities of life. Focus on the things that will get you there. Hope for the best. Think of the worst and prepare for the worst, but hope for the best and work on the best. You can only do what you can do to make yourself better. You can only do what you can do to make your community better, and hopefully all that turns back out to you. So with that mindset, again, keep on pushing and move on up. So that's what I got today. Thank you, and I yield too.
For starters, I felt like Eddie Kane because I thought I had missed it, but apparently I am Eddie Kane because it came in right on time. Um, one of the only true constants of life, aside from the passage of time, is change. And like life, change is not easy, but it's necessary. And sometimes you can put yourself in position for that change. Sometimes you can be blindsided by that change. And other times, like greatness, it could just be simply placed in front of you. The point being that no matter what your plans are or how you see or feel as though things could or should go or would go, always remember the unknown known that is change. Accept it and acknowledge it. For if you don't, it will always be the bane of your existence when it comes to doing what you want to do. Because that change will pop up just to piss you off. And we as humans are particular creatures. And over time, we become set in our individual ways. But we cannot ever forget that before we were the person we are now, we were someone completely different. And it was only because of change that we got to the point that we're at now. So why not continue to allow that change to continue to mature us and grow us? Because most of us think where we're at now is the best as it may get. But if you just embrace the change, you could sit back a year, 10, maybe 15 years from now and sit here and think about, wow, my life has really changed. And I'm no longer the person I was. And I can't believe I've changed so much from that person. Most of us know what I'm talking about when you go back and look at old pictures or catch old videos of yourself from 5 or 10 years ago or a couple decades ago. You look back, it's like, wow, like I don't even recognize myself. You might see or recall some things that make you really think to yourself, damn, I have really changed. Can't believe I don't do that anymore. Can't believe I ever did that in the first place. I say this as a kind of message to all the local artists in my area who feel as though what they're doing is working. So don't deviate, which is usually true. But when you have an energy and a, for lack of a better term, no pun intended, but a movement being birthed in front of you that you can benefit from, that is change being placed in front of you. Not asking for you to accept it, but merely standing there, waiting for you to accept it. Almost as a placeholder, that little point to let you know you're going in the right direction. So don't fear change, embrace it, acknowledge it, learn how to adapt when it comes your way, for better or for worse. And with that, I yield the floor.
And see, this is, oh my God. But I did set myself up for this. Everybody had their great speeches. But the thing is, it sums up to what I'm about to say now. First of all, Teach, I've got to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this now. Everybody wish Teach's mom a late birthday. She celebrated her birthday earlier, I think earlier this week. I want to wish her a very, very happy birthday. I ain't getting no piece of barbecue, but hopefully she enjoyed it. Also, big shout outs once again to Mayo making his hustle moves and doing his thing. He also, if y'all follow him on Instagram, he be posting some inspirational stuff on his stories and all that stuff that really gets me going. And me and him will be tagging each other on videos and all that stuff, laughing and having conversations. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we do. Us here on the Pound does have a relationship after the show. And then also big shout out to Beast. Now, ladies and gentlemen, y'all understand Beast be hustling to get artists on the show. So don't think those other shows that you've seen that he introduced artists on here was just it. Expect more on the show. Which lead me to this news. This is the news that I didn't even express with them, that I'm letting y'all know. So as of yesterday, I have shut down the Wet Network on stream. I shut it down because that was just a starter. That was just a starter for, getting the channel, getting a feel for, producing shows, putting shows up there and having it run 24/7. Strim, if anybody from that organization is watching right now, we want to thank you for providing our show, giving us a platform, to create a platform to host our shows 24/7, which was great. But I made the decision that we wanted more. And so I have a new platform that I've been eyeing at that has finally opened the opportunity for me to get our new home. Come July, not only will we be streaming our show 24/7, we can actually go live like right here. So we don't always have to go live on Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, Baila, as you can see right here, Baila offers not only 24/7 content of the Wet Network, it's also shown on laptop, tablet, even your phone. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, your phone and TV. So come July, watch out for the Wet Network on the Vilao. We have enough content probably to last about, I would say, half the year. But the best thing about this, we can also go live as well. We can go live. We can cut to breaking news. We can cut into any new content. And also, not to forget, we can put your content on there too as well. This show is growing, believe it or not, and it's adapting. We will keep you updated, but July, Baila will be the official home of the Wet Network. And with that, I yield the floor and let me catch up with the rest of my cast when we come back. Yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's news that I didn't even express with nobody. Cannot wait until July comes around and we are officially on Vilao. So what y'all think?
Think it's
I'm
wonderful.
cool with it.
Wonderful. Progress is
Yes,
always good.
I'm telling you. Like
Yes,
I say,
change
I
is
still want to.
necessary.
Yeah, so I still like to thank Shrimp for having our content. I still want to thank them. You know, they really gave us a filler, mainly me, a filler on how to run a channel, how to, put, keep it running 24/7. But the one thing that Vila offers is not only streaming for 24/7, but also for us to go live. So when any breaking news happen, and breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't always mean something bad. It could be something extremely great or whatever. Uh, that's the part that really I look forward to. But then also what it does, Vila also can have us build a channel. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, even though I'm letting y'all too much in on the, what's in the goodie bag, but we are looking to start an Amazon channel. We are looking into that as much as we can. So July, this right here changes everything. And that's why I was like, no, I'm gonna let them say what they're gonna say. And it's just crazy how it all just mounted to what I actually wanted to say. So it was a perfect setup. So I just can't wait. So not only to look out for hashtag Fade to Black, we got the Unrehearsed podcast. Y'all saw the commercial in here plenty of times. Then also we got shows that Teach will be doing, and they got shows that Mayo's going to be doing, as well as Beast Johnson with his countdown. And so we got a
As
lot
well
of
as gaming.
projects waiting in there, and gaming as well, and then
Yeah.
also for my show too as well. So we got a lot in the works, and I cannot wait till July gets here and that we can show it all to each and every one of y'all. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking very forward to it, and spreading our messages, spreading our word, and entertaining everybody how they should be entertained. So I just want to start the conversation. Like I say, any topic is up for discussion. Uh, Tulsa, Oklahoma, just recently celebrated. I won't say a celebration. Take that back. Remembrance of what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the first Black Wall Street, what events led and happened there, and it's funny. A lot of the news has been jumping on this story like it's something brand new. But for people who knew about the story, it's just like, where have y'all been? Now, you saw two of the, are they the only, I think they're the only two living survivors from that time. I know they spoke to the Congress, but what do y'all think the outcome's going to be from this? Is that going to be enough that their families get reparations, or is this just another symbolic? We recognize that this is happening, we apologize, and we just sweep it under the rug again. What do y'all think?
Mm,
Well,
it kind of goes both ways.
I'll let this
I mean, kind of honestly, it's really down to the execution because it can be seen either way very clearly and very easily. But if they set it up correctly and execute it correctly, it'll be no problem. It'll be seen as a olive branch, a step in the right direction. Yeah, it's a payoff, but it's a payoff that needs to happen. Like some people, like let's keep it like the Jews. Some folk go through some shit that requires a large sum of money, and sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and cut the check. But the same way that they handled the Holocaust payouts, it should be. I would say use that as a template because don't nobody really say much about it. It's been several decades, almost over half a century. So it's all about
well,
execution. But how you feel, Mayo?
no. I was gonna say, first of all, I often don't like to pretend or forecast, portend or forecast the future in the sense of how effective this is gonna be. But if I'm to look at the pattern that we've had, I don't feel too optimistic that so much is gonna come out. So much often comes out immediately because we have attention of media and all that kind of stuff. But I think that that group or families that came from there, giving them reparations is just a start to reparations for all Americans who have dealt with slavery or torture from the country and majority members of the country. I guess it's a start. I think that there's a good possibility that there might be reparations. I just think that what's important is to not do the like you initially might make mention celebration or remembrance or whatever the media wants to the cat and dog show of it or and to put more attention on what are you going to do to make sure that this is marked as an American history item. It is not covered by some state legislature that might want to cover this up and say it never happened in our history, or that
That's what they're doing now.
the bonehead move that was made by the
Mhm.
governor of what's the name of the state uh, uh,
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
yeah, Oklahoma. Yeah, well, back then when they gave him an opportunity to do some reparations, and he gave him a plaque or something. I heard that he gave the families a plaque, and they give an opportunity. You know, it's just one.
I wish you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just I hope that we um, put pressure on the government to do the right thing. I mean, because there's one thing is what we often celebrate and applaud them beforehand, before they, because just because they're saying something about, oh, they got attention on this. They said they're gonna do this. Oh, I love them. So and we have to remember the government is of Democrats and Republicans, which they play this game with us, and I shouldn't say they because I'm a member of the Democratic Party, elected member of the party, but they play this game with us.
They.
Oh, this a good cop and this a bad cop. Oh, at the end of the day, oh, it dropped. We can't do it. And we need
Mhm.
to not look in this time and saying that this is Democrats or Republicans' fault. If you are living in a Democratic district, be hard on your representative. If you live in a Republican district, be hard on your representative. Let them say that this is something they got to do. Kind of like the George Floyd bill or whatever. Let them say that this is one that we want to all put attention on. That it's not an either or, but make this the first priority and make it their priority. If you don't do that, they're always gonna play that game like, well, we have other issues that and other bills, and they're important to the nation at this time. The whoop lie and whoop lie, whoop lie. So those are the areas I'm trying to pay attention. How do we pay attention to the policies that would fix things, as opposed to soaking ourselves too much in the stories of the past?
Teach.
Well, uh, I think that this is a day of reckoning, and they have buried the story on so many different levels that if they pay out reparations, it still won't be enough. Because if you go back into the archives or whatever you can get your hands on, if there's anything left to get your hands on, there's plots and plots and plots of people that just went missing. According to them, they just up and left, but we know that they're dead and buried in these areas, whole families. So who would get the reparations of a whole family? If that family lineage stopped at that point, who would get the reparations? No doubt they may have relatives in the South, but to follow that line, that genealogy, to see who else was the next of kin outside of that particular area might be very foreboding task. So
Teach.
to pay the reparations to those that you can find, so well, so good. But those that you cannot find, those that you cannot link, there's thousands of people that may not even know that they're affected. Because if you remember, with the mass exodus from the South, a lot of people left Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia to go out west. Not everybody went out west. So they have family in these other states. But if they burn down all the records of who was actually living in those in Tulsa at the time, if they burnt down all of the businesses and probably burial grounds that still have not been found, then how will you effectively, really, seriously pay reparations to all that's due? So even if they pay reparations to 300 families, there's probably another 300 families that we don't know about. I may have
I
some
didn't even thought about
relatives
that.
That's a
over
good thing to
there.
say.
Yeah,
I may
But
have some
Teach, that brings
relatives
up
I
a
don't
good point.
know.
yeah. I
That
know.
brings up a good
I
point,
think
like you always said about genealogy. How you always say we should take, if anything, this should be an inspirational moment for Black folk and an actual excuse to invest in getting a DNA or lineage, a heritage test. Find out where you and your peoples come from, because obviously it's going to trace everybody in your family in America. And like T said, you might be one of them folk to find out, hey, you are kinfolk to one of those massacred family names. That's one of your distant cousins. So now you are entitled to the money that they would have got, but like T said, the entire family name died at that person. But you just
and
so happen to be from the cousins side of it.
now
Right.
take it with all of what Teach said, what Mayo said, and what Beast said. We only talking about one. We only talking
Mhm.
about, I call it chocolate cities, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all, I call it Black Wall Street, but I like to call them chocolate cities. Let's call it like it is.
That's what George
This
said.
is just one. Yeah. This is only just one. Like I saw, I don't think, I forgot who sent it to me, or I found it myself. I don't know. That there were other chocolate cities around this time, around like when Tulsa was around. Rosewood was another one. Anybody remember seeing that movie that Spike Lee and
Yep.
John Cemetery made?
Mm-hmm.
Those
Another story of
were
what
around,
happens when white women lie.
yeah. And the thing is, we talking about Tulsa. I don't want to sound like Allen Iverson when he says we talking practice. We're just talking one. Now imagine that with all these other chocolate cities that got burned down, records being burnt,
We talking.
everything. I mean, we're not only just talking
Let's
about
change
that.
up let's change up the verbiage for it. This for you gang members out here. This is OG Black Wall Street, aka Tukeyville. First ones to do it. Nobody done it better. Understand what this man's trying to tell when we talk about Tulsa and these chocolate cities. But they did a lot.
I mean, even we can go back to Red Summer in the
Mm-hmm.
1920s. America
Durham
was
for my little
burning
area.
from the east side, from the east coast to the west coast, from the north to the south. America was burning. That's why they called it Red Summer, because blood was being spilled in many Black areas around the nation. So America has much to atone for.
Yes.
It has much to repent of. Um, the thing that in the case of Tulsa, I would say city by city, family by family, to address that issue. But the scary thing about Tulsa, and you remember when I talked about the redemption, Tulsa was an act of redemption. That phrase or that campaign specifically was created by the KKK. And when you think of redemption, you think of the Bible, you think of redeeming, you think of taking that which was lost and bringing it back into the fold. You taking it from one degree to the next. You think of it in positive terms. And for the KKK, that was a positive term, to redeem that land. They redeemed the land. They took it back from the not so worthy and brought it back to themselves as worthy. So part of redemption is to destroy. Part of redemption is to erase by destroying all the records of all of the people, all of the businesses that were erected in that town. That's redemption. And if you understand it, you should understand that that is a sickness, that is an illness that is perpetrated, that has been perpetrated as something righteous, as something good. We have to go back and deconstruct the ideologies that were put in our head, and how one word that's preached in one place, i.e., the church, has two different meanings based upon your color.
This is true.
Now, if you're black, you won't understand redemption the same way the KKK understood and carried out that redemption campaign. You won't understand it because that's not how you understand it. But their understanding leads them on the path in their minds of glory. Because to be redeemed is a great thing. Is it or is it not? So
It
for
is. It's the
them, it was
equivalent
a
of being
great
baptized.
thing to destroy the people, destroy their property, and destroy all traces of anyone that remained. And disconnected, actually, the survivors became disconnected. It was an act of terror because these people, these elderly people that are speaking out now, they didn't speak out 20 years ago. They didn't speak up 30 years ago. It became a hush hush thing. It became a thing that they did not talk about because what? They witnessed their mother, their father, their neighbors, their whole neighborhood wiped out. And they were little children at that time. So, you know, when you're traumatized as a child, you carry that into your adulthood. But now that they're
Yep.
closer to going to the other side, now they release that fear because what? I'm about to die anyway. So now I can speak up. Now I have the strength. Now I can say what I could not
I don't
say
care
when
about
I
the
was
consequences.
6. Exactly.
And
So,
teach. Yeah, go ahead, teach.
just to finish this up, so to understand this in context, America has a lot to atone for. And this is off the subject, but it's on the subject. This is why I have advocated to friends and family that I know that have small businesses to apply for those small business loans and or grants. For me, and for those that find themselves struggling with your business, this is your reparation. This is your opportunity to take advantage of the opportunity that's being presented. We cannot say that in 2020 or 2021 that the government didn't give us an opportunity. What I'm seeing is the opportunity is there, but they're putting these scary stories out there, and African Americans are backing away and not taking advantage of this free money. I just found out that individuals who did not get the grants in the beginning, but they started out with loans, with the federal government circle back around and now offering those people the grants on the back end.
Not bad.
So
Free
some
money.
people didn't even want to apply because it's a loan. Well, one, the loan, if it's a nonprofit, is 2.75%, does not have to be paid for 18 months. That gives you a year and a half to get yourself together. And it has a chart to tell you exactly how much money you have to pay back per month. If you are a for-profit business, the loan rate is 3.75%. And they'll give you an amount,
Respect.
and if you want less, you can take less. But the thing is to get recognized as a business. And like I said, some people have reported that the government have came back around and said, well, the monies that weren't available for a grant, Now we just get this whole other pool of money that you now qualify for. And then even additional companies will be attracted to your business and want to sponsor you, giving you grants. I even had a computer company approach me with a $10,000 grant for computer equipment. I can now fully staff my office with office equipment. So you have to be willing to take the steps that the government um, allow. If we don't take advantage of it, can nobody say, well, the government haven't done this, government haven't done that. It's a lot of things they haven't done. And like Mayo said, the governor at the time, he gave them a plaque. But our government right now is saying if you have a small business or there's a business that you want to start, go and apply. And if we don't do it, we can't blame the government. We can't say they withheld it. It was only for the white people. It was only for the Jews. It was only for the Asians. Stop listening to the scary stories. This is your 40 acres and a mule. Go get it.
Mm. Tell them, Teach. And then also, Teach, you hit me on something too about the two survivors of Tulsa finally speaking out on the terrorist attack. Let's call it what it is, terrorist attack in Tulsa.
Domestic terrorist attack.
And it took me back to like I said, I'm bringing up the movie Rosewood, where y'all remember that part where I forgot the guy's name, but Don Cheadle, and you had Esther Rose. Everybody know her from Good Times,
Good times.
where she got shot. Yeah, and where he pulled her out from outside when she admitted that the man was white, that raped that white woman, got shot. He pulled his mom in, and she said, "Baby, don't let them surround you." And I guarantee you, those two two survivors from Tulsa probably was told that don't go nowhere where they surround you. Yeah, and that's a big burden of fear to that you have to have on you for the majority of your life, because all you saw was
not majority, not majority. Think when children deal with that type of, the younger you are when you're exposed to death, especially traumatic death of that magnitude, it bores a hole in your psychological consciousness. And shit that wasn't supposed to ever pop up in your head or wasn't supposed to affect you till later on down the line when you got older, it's there now. So it's a lot of stuff that the reason why they are the way they are now is because of that.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Every action, every decision, every trait they picked up is a result of that. It bore a hole in them so evident. I give the personal example. When my father died, I was 10 years old. The first thing they told me after telling me my father is dead is, you have to be a man now and be there for your mom and your sister. I'm 10 fucking years old. Roughly 20, almost 30 years later, I'm in my 30s. My mother has died, and the same person that said that to me then saw the man I had become and had regretted telling me that at that age, and looked me in my face and said, I wish I never said that to you, and I hope and pray that when God calls me home, nobody says that to my child. Because you saw what the fuck it did to me. It completely killed, like Michael Jackson, killed my childhood. I had no childhood after that. I had no adolescence. I had no real teen years. I was a fucking adult. From 10 years old, my consciousness was get money, take care of the family.
So I think my next question before we close out on this part of the show, what where do we go from here? Honestly, I hate saying that, but in
No,
cases
it's a
like
logical
this,
question.
you have to bring it up. So
Like I said,
where do we go from here?
Well, one of the things that
inspiration.
um, a lady attorney, a friend of mine, she actually lives in Kansas, in Wichita, and so she's not too far away. But one of the things that she brought to my attention is that though it clearly is a Black issue, at the rallies and the various events that's been taking place, the Black people are in the minority. And she sees it um, as like a costume. They're wearing a costume. They're saying the right things, and at the end of the day, when the money is dispersed, it's going to go to these white groups that have organized to bring awareness. It's not going to benefit. It's not going to benefit the Blacks in the long run. I believe they said they were going to build a museum, but the people that control the museum um, are, are white people. So it's like it's a dead issue. Okay, this is the definition of death: when you have no arms and no legs and no mouth, and those that could speak are aged, and they're not going to be here to run things. And I don't think that a younger generation has been trained to take the place, um, to run things, to make sure they're in place for the right people. And this is
Gotcha.
this is the problem that we run into time and time again. Um, our narrative gets taken over by someone else. We fail to control, keep, and we fail to control and keep our narrative.
We failed to finish what we start.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, yeah. I can't sum up any better than what y'all just said. It's just I get a feeling like it's too little, too late.
As well.
Yeah, I mean, because this story, for anybody, if this is your first time hearing it, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad at all. Because I'm not even gonna lie, when I first heard about what happened in Tulsa, was actually through Teach. And that was when I was in community college. That was what? That
Well,
was what back
you
in
know what
where
that
Teach?
should do? You know what that speaks of though? Ask anybody of our generation, and even it teaches time too. Most of the prudent and pertinent information and knowledge that we were blessed with, we got from our predecessors.
Yeah.
The one they would just tell you, we always had them old heads. And let him hear about this because he's gonna have to deal with it eventually. So he might as well learn about it now. And it's only when you match up their knowledge or like you run across that topic in school and they start talking about it and you're like, hold on, I know this stuff already. My Uncle Junebug was telling me about this last week. Mm-hmm. Oh shit. Then you think to yourself, he wasn't just talking for the sake of talking. He actually knew he actually knew some knowledge. Like you didn't get that knowledge from school. You got that confirmation from school.
Yeah,
you got that knowledge from your elders.
Yeah,
so that's what we should do. Move forward now. Talk to the OGs. Talk to the cool OGs, especially ones that's knowledgeable and they're
Yeah,
willing to talk to you. Talk to them.
yeah,
Get
because
them
I
information.
I felt robbed, and then me being in the military and finding out that not only was Tulsa was bombarded by white folks and killing families and all that. You had military veterans. Like one story, you had a veteran actually came out in his uniform because we got our our war uniform. I'm gonna say war uniform, and then we got our dress uniforms where if it's like a special ceremony or whatever, we will have it on with all of our our rank and our awards and all that stuff. He came out with the ones with his awards and all that. He comes out there because he saw the white folks that he deployed with, that he went to war with, that he considered a brother. And he walked out there, saying, "What's going on?" And they shot point blank.
Kill them.
Not only just that, they
That was in
also
Arkansas or
attacked.
Texas, right?
Mhm. And it was
Dang.
a military style, and it was a military style type of execution too as well, meaning that they had planes and a military type of maneuvers as they dropped bombs
Mhm.
on the neighborhoods. And something like that happened in Philadelphia, where they was actually trying to the police actually ordered. I think it's Philadelphia. I could be wrong, but it
Yeah,
happened
it's Philly.
before in Montana. Yeah, in
It
Philly,
happened
it's
in the
Philadelphia.
80s.
Yeah,
It happened in the 80s
Mhm.
in Philly.
Where
They
they actually
cornered
dropped the
the
bomb.
police. No. It wasn't bombs. They, if I remember correctly, they had the cops on the ground pretty much corral all the black folk into this specific block of area. At the same time, they was doing Vietnam chopper runs overhead,
Hmm.
as well as dropping. They did drop a couple like low level bombs and
Yeah,
explosives,
not the actual like bomb
big enough to
bombs.
take down the like big enough to take down the city block, but not big enough to
Yeah,
really do any damage. Like big enough to take down a section of the east side, but you can still the east side still intact overall.
right. It's just not
That
the whole
kind of
town.
makes
I
sense.
got you. But so
Yeah.
so that for that for me is just like damn. So man, we about to close out on this segment, and I asked the question, where do we go from here? And we basically all in agreement of like there's only so much we could do now. You know, this young generation is not equipped or even know the history. If they just find it out now, it's already as T said, it's already dead.
Well,
Well,
one of the
nah,
things
in the case of,
Mhm.
we'll go ahead and teach.
I just wanted to say that I find that our youth, our middle-aged people, and our elders, they buy into, oh, let's not talk about the race card. So they willingly make themselves ignorant of the history. And when we talk about the history or talk about these situations, it's not a matter of playing the race card. It's simply a matter of knowing the history. And I find that if they can find a psychological label to make you feel bad, people will shy away from these things. And we have to give credit to the young man that came on a couple of weeks ago, Teye, and how he
Mhm.
talked about his uncle and how he was on the front lines of the civil rights movement, and he wrote the book, and he, you know, we if we have more of that in every community, then we can own our history. See, his uncle planted that seed and hunger for history because he was living history, he was making history, and he shared it with his nephew. And so his nephew grew up, and I still have to buy his book. I said I was going to buy 4 of them and put them on the reading list for the fall. I'm going to keep that commitment because I was very inspired by him being on the show just a few weeks ago. And we need to bring him back again. And but we have to want our history. We have to feel that our history is valid. We cannot allow people to psychologically invalidate our history and the need to know it. And the need to know it. And it's not even to stir up hatred for the other people. That's their mode of operandi. It's not our mode of operandi. We can know the truth. And seriously, if the slaves didn't revolt and kill all of the white folks then, we ain't gonna do it now. Because hatred is not in us. And if we would consider our race as a Job type, a prototype, everybody around Job said, oh, curse God and die, because of all of the horrible circumstances that he endured in his life. We as a people, as that Job prototype, we're not going to curse God and die, because we are God. And we know and we understand on a much deeper level than they could ever understand. Like they made that movie, what was it? Where you go kill everybody, where they kept asking, well, are you mad enough to go kill someone? If we paid you so many dollars, are you mad
I
enough
think I
to
know
kill
what you're talking
somebody?
about. I know what you're talking about. I just can't think of the name of the movie. I know what you're talking about.
And what happened? The black people turned into a block party. And they knew the black people weren't going to kill people, because I think they had until daylight or sunlight or whatever to kill people. The black people turned into a barbecue and they started dancing. And they knew that of that personality, of that collective personality. And what did they do? They sent in assassins or mercenaries to make it look like the black people went on a rampage and started killing people. So they know our personality type. We're never going to be pushed that much that we're going to turn around and fight and shed blood against our enemy. We're just not going to do it. We have not done it. We're just not going to do it because it is not part of our collective personality type.
Cat Williams said something along those lines. She said that in this comedian speech, I won't say comedian speech. He did like a little 5-minute stand up, and at the end part, he said, "White people, we still waiting on that 400 years of pent up rage. If we did anything the first time, what make you think we're gonna do anything now?" And so, yeah,
Well,
I had me think about that.
It's deeper than what T says. It's more than just our Western ancestry. According to Professor O, during one of our more spirited debates on a similar subject, it's straight down to our genetic code that we have never been united as a black race amongst the motherlands. And we were only united under the oblivious ignorance of each other. We might have known there was 3 or 4, but we didn't realize it was 3,400.
Yeah.
But all 3,400 of us knew that there was at least 3 or 4 other ones in the respective area. And there was that kind of knowledge. That was the peaceful existence amongst the blacks. We as blacks didn't realize there were other areas until slavery, when we were forced to be around each other. So And kind of in all honesty, we've never truly been united because we've never had a unified cause that we could all get behind and we could all truly understand instead of from a linguistic aspect of the speech. It's more from a personal cultural experience. How the same way, even though we all four think completely different on things, we are all able to unify when it comes to certain matters and certain topics, despite of the obvious differences in our experiences and our levels of intelligence and our knowledges on the particular subjects. But we should be that way across the board, but unfortunately we're not. This is a prime example. Only four. There's four of us now. We all understand each other and acknowledge each other, and that there's that peaceful existence. And
Let's
this
go.
moment is
Yeah,
just fate is just spread out
yeah,
across all Black cultures.
yeah. So let's get Mayo up in here because he been sitting over there patiently. Mayo, what was your
Yeah,
take about?
I
Yeah,
see what we just. Ooh, I mean,
yeah.
I got some shit to hit.
Yeah, so going back to what I
I,
asked. What do
so
you
yeah,
think?
Now
I
getting cheesy.
and
Go ahead, baby. Go ahead. Talk about it.
and so I know we are over our segment for this particular topic, so I'm not going to belabor it. But I think that what we should do, like in everything else that we are dealing with, is to look at the ways in which this country has been doing. While we're talking about dropping a bomb on the community or the city, it's nothing new. The thing is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Uh, you know, we've done so much evil around the world. So what we do out there on the foreign land, I'm surprised when we think that, or when we see it happen on domestic land, and we're surprised. Violence begets violence. We cannot have folks that we consider friends and families or fellow citizens or our leaders who are so occupied in their hearts with violence and with taking stuff and domination and all that stuff, and think that when they get bored, they will not, they will not turn inward with that same spirit, that same vibe, what we go from here is to start fighting against that violence, against that mindset that makes people feel like, like taking the other man's stuff is a good idea, or if you don't have enough as much as we do, we're just gonna dominate you. You know, it's always, we always gotta feel like we have to beat somebody. We have to, uh, people talk about the American exceptionalism. Some people think the American exceptionalism is the ability to crush another person or another country, or to dominate. And it's not much of the ability to think or to be beyond just beyond human reaction, beyond you hear about they said to forgive is to err is human, and to forgive is divine. To be that divine being, and like that, in opposed to just being so human, so I allow my natural negative traits to take over me, and I want to go dominate. I'm jealous. I'm greedy. I'm all this, and we all human beings have that, but we live in a society that embraces that, and we embrace it in the sense of we watch it go on with other people by our, like, I don't know what to call it, but I guess our leaders, I could say, or our community organizers, not our really community organizers, but our leaders, I should say, our nation leaders, and we don't say anything. And again, it's just that vibe. I mean, we have within us the folks who are for peace, for in the foreign world. FDR is, even though he was into World War II, pushed into it. He was for peace. His vice president Henry Wallace pushed for peace throughout the whole time. That's why they started progressive movement within the Democratic Party, and the military industrial complex was one that pushed a vice president out of office. Then how Truman was able to get in. They in the Democratic Convention in 1954 in Chicago, they pushed a sitting vice president out of a seat, and put a more money grabbing type person in it. So this is something that historically in our country is it's been there, where we embrace that violence, and it's the tough build for tough, the toughest and the strong man competition, man got to do and all this BS, and we think that at some point it doesn't reflect back inwards. I mean, that I kind of laugh at that, and I think that the more we preach out there in the sense of a spirit of loving, of coexisting, of believing that in healing human nature, healing people, helping other folks get up, sharing resources, sharing um, sharing the limelight, with the more as a nation and with other nations, the more we believe, the better we will do with ourselves internally. It's like father, it's like the parents and what the kid learn from the parents. That's pretty much what it is. It's sick that it's almost insane that we think that we can watch United States attack Iraq and Afghanistan preemptively, uh, and they don't expect our kids to attack each other preemptively, or folks who hate each other here to attack each other preemptively. It's still the same thing. They're learning from the government. So I mean, I've always look at that, and I think that so whatever we want to change, we have to ask all our leaders to have that same vibe and same mindset. So we have to vote leaders who have that mindset and that vibe in, and maybe then they start to change on the internal part. And the other part, the second part of what we have to go from here is to understand that we can pick up the pieces. Like we've said all kind of recommendations when we were just talking about the idea initially. Like Tish said, the opportunities. I would like not to think that our reparations are opportunities that they're given to everybody, but but definitely if that's what it is, at least we should at least take those opportunities, even if it is or not. The opportunities are right there. We got to stand up and rise up to those opportunities of education, of funding, of anything that we don't know. Try to find out how we can be producers, not consumers. A lot of us are consumers, just flat out. And we can say we can also tune that back into of the lack, the fact that we lack the opportunity and ability to have so much. We had to get the hand me downs. We that's how we start eating. What chitlins and all that stuff, because in the big house they were eating the good meat, and they'll pass the chitlins down to us. So now we want to show we're so caught up in status. Black folks are so caught up in status, and I mean, it's so
True.
I hate to, first of all, I hate to admit it in a public sphere. I know, many folks are watching this, folks who are with us or not, but and it seems like I'm admonishing my community, but there's not much of that. I'm just trying to remind us and trying to get us to get hold and get a grip of ourselves. At some point, we got to do something for ourselves too. It's funny, even today in our dating lifestyle, I recently realized that most folks who are most young ladies who I've been talking to lately, part of the reason why things don't even often I'm not the guy that's gonna be buying Jordans. I'm not, I'm not that type of guy. I'm putting my money into my business. So they might not like that, because that's not what our culture today promotes. Our culture today promotes, you got to be stunning and shining and all that stuff. And I think maybe, I don't know what Beast was when he goes out, but I kind of feel like him and I might relate to this a little bit in the sense that like I'm confident in who I am. As long as I'm clean, as long
Of
as
course.
I got a head on my shoulder, what I mean. So I'm, I'm not out there trying to go drop $150 on a shoe, another $300 on some pants, whatever. And by the time I'm done, I don't pay $500 on
That's
getting
just
an,
stupid.
an outfit when I could put that $500 into maybe buying a tax lien on the property and on that property. So I mean, but it's hard for us to get that. And when we don't get it, or I'm look like that lame or whatever, so so I just talked to somebody who I used to, and this might be the reason why I probably remember this. I just talked to somebody who I used to talk to in a few weeks or months ago today about somebody. We're calling back what happened, and that came out, and I'm like, like, so you really think that because I'm not Mr. I buy all the kind of stuff, I mean, that I, it's I can't apologize for that. I cannot. And I will not apologize for that. I think that you got to grow up. If we're in our 30s, or closing 40s, and we got worried about buying stuff, and so and this is good people. We're all good, like, but it's ingrained in us that we gotta show our status, and I'm like, status. I mean, then we don't call it that. To us, it's just like I just gotta look clean, But you can look clean in other ways.
So,
There's many other ways you can stop being a consumer and be a producer. Put your money into something that's gonna produce, and maybe you can get more, you can yield more. So I mean, there's just stuff that's going through my mind. I'm thinking like we could do a whole lot better for ourselves. Request legislation to be more. So that being said, I yield. I don't know where don't know when, but
Yeah. We're going to go to commercial break now that Mayo has finished up his thesis.
oh yeah, I had to make sure I back it in.
You can download that thesis in Crib Notes.
We should put that on social media, not on this Instagram right now.
Yeah.
Drop that right now. That live.
Well, until we go to commercial break, I just want to mention something that I seen on Facebook, and it actually goes to prove my point in terms of police brutality. So I'm changing the subject slightly. There was a incident that happened in my city where some guys had some weapons, and the police were around, several police cars, and they were shooting their weapons straight up in the air. And then they started laughing that, the police officers just drove right past them and kept going. And my thing was, of course, they didn't shoot anybody, but when you see police brutality, it is always an armed officer and an unarmed civilian. And I always said that you never see a shootout with police officers and those that have weapons. Just never see it. You never hear about a gangbanger getting shot by the police. It's just not unheard of. I mean, it's unheard of. You never hear about a guns dealer being shot up by the police officer. So it's always someone that cannot defend themselves, and that little clip. I wish I could get it. It just shows they turned a blind eye. I would suspect, I don't know the law, but I would suspect that there's a law about just shooting random weapons up in the air.
There's something against that. I mean, I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's something against that.
It's funny you said that, Tease, though, because there's another video. I believe it's up in New York. It's a metropolitan area. I can assure that. But two officers, they were making an arrest, and a random bystander just came by, and the officer that was watching his back while the man was handcuffing him. As his bystander walked by, he just looked at the situation and it didn't sit well with him. And he just three-pieced him with a nice little biscuit and some coleslaw on the side, this cop in the back of the head. They gave 2 more for good measure, and then just took off running.
Well, first of all, I think it was that's funny. I think
and it was like at least, it was about a good 4 people in the background because there was already somebody filming the arrest. And you just see dude walking, dude got his mask on. And he just looks at it, and you just kind of see that tilt of indignation, like, this don't sit well with me. Bah, 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 bah. He cut a left corner, it was gone. And the cop was so shook, it took him a good half a minute to realize, hold on, I've just been assaulted on camera. I should, he tried to tase
didn't even have time
but it
to
didn't work. No, he got the taser out. He got the taser out, but he didn't get it out quick enough to actually make it connect. So he got it out, but it didn't hit. Then he called it. That's what he called that second 2-piece. And then he just yelled with his ass. And then you just hear people in the background like, run! Run! Run!
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
Yeah,
and
so
the moral of the
Donnell,
story, that was
we're
a white
waiting.
man.
We're waiting for you to take us to commercial, Donnell.
I think that was correct.
At the age of 50, I can become the oldest Olympic swimmer in history. My name is Sipiwe Balega, and I am a My Swim Pro ambassador. This is my Olympic journey. I was 4 years old when my father took our family to Charleston, South Carolina. When he brought me to the edge of the Atlantic Ocean, I reacted violently. I was deathly afraid of the water. My father vowed then and there that no son of his would be afraid of the water. My father was on his high school swimming team. My grandfather served in the Coast Guard. Family legend claims that my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was one of the best swimmers as a boy in his homeland in Guinea-Bissau. When my foot touched the water in Charleston, South Carolina, the spirit of Brasa and Chabra entered me. I would swim back home. I became a state champion swimmer at the age of 10. By the time I was 12, I had won every race in the Midwest. In 1989, as I headed off to my freshman year at Yale University, Joliet Jets coach Mike Brochek identified me as one of the 4 or 5 senior swimmers on the team who could possibly qualify for the United States 1992 Olympic team. In my freshman year, I set Yale records, and in my sophomore year, I became the first African American on the first team All-Ivy League. Freshman year, I set Yale records, and in my sophomore year, I became the first African American on the first team All-Ivy League. I was the 22nd fastest swimmer in the United States going into the Olympic year. I was a long shot, but I had hope. At the U.S. Open Swimming Championships in Minneapolis at the end of the year, I failed to qualify for the Olympic trials. I ended up in the hospital. My Olympic dream was over, or so I thought. In 2011, at the age of 40, I returned to competitive swimming, winning 2 U.S. Masters Swimming National Championships. In 2016, I won 7 gold medals and set 2 national records at the U.S. Masters Swimming Long Course Nationals. I even broke U.S. Olympic gold medalist Matt Biondi's short course 50-meter freestyle national record, becoming the fastest 45 to 49-year-old in American history. The following year, I came close to becoming a Masters swimming world champion. With a commanding lead after the breaststroke leg in the 200 IM, I nearly collapsed in the water, finishing second. I had to be pulled from the water and brought to the medical tent on a stretcher. It was the second time I failed to accomplish my goal and ended up in the hospital. And in January 2020, I became the first of my family, after 250 years, to return to my homeland. There, I returned the spirit of Brasa and Chabra in the Cachao River. I then met with the Guinea-Bissau Minister of Sport, Mr. Dionisio Pereira, and together we came up with the idea, what if I could represent Guinea-Bissau in the Tokyo Olympics? It wasn't such a far-fetched idea. Genetic testing proved that I was a descendant of the Balanta people of Guinea-Bissau. I had already become a sports hero in Guinea-Bissau, which had never had an Olympic swimmer. And although I am not fast enough to contend for a medal, my times as a master swimmer in 2016 was faster than 27 competitors in the men's 50-meter freestyle. And thus, my Olympic dreams were revived. On November 6, 2020, the Guinea-Bissau National Olympic Committee and National Swim Federation announced their official support to place me on the Guinea-Bissau Olympic team for the Tokyo Olympics. At the age of 50, I can become the oldest Olympic swimmer in history. It won't be easy. In this spirit of Olympism, I hope to set an example and inspire the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Seepaway, who is also part of the hashtag Fade to Black crew. This man is showing some dedication and he needs your support. So to support him in his dreams, donate so that he can realize his dream to make it into Tokyo, to compete in the Olympics. CPA, if you're watching right now, we wish you nothing but the best. We want you to bring home the gold, but as well as for you to live your dream. And that people, we're not telling you to give up your whole entire life savings. Donate. Help our fellow brother. Help our fellow cast member, fellow panelists achieve his dream, representing his country and competing in the Olympics. Seepaway, thinking about you. Hopefully that your training is going well as you keep posting on Facebook almost every day, making me feel jealous because I got a dad bod going on right here. You know, I'm trying to get one ab, you know, but other than that, like I said, you're in my heart, you're in my soul. Bring home the gold. Beast, take it away.
Not exactly sure what to say at this moment, other than Seafway, outswim them, dispel and destroy one of the stigmas of the Black culture that we can't swim. Shit me. That's one swimming brother right there. I say go out there and get all them damn medals. Just get greedy. Keep swimming till you piss off Michael Phelps and have him looking over the back corner of his shoulder. Keep it up. Well, I'm assuming this is part of the community. So for my community portion, I want to keep talking about change and how change is necessary. You know, I'm speaking on the personal community of my independent and local artistry here in Greensboro, North Carolina. I want to give a shout out to the LAM Commission, the Local Artists Movement Commission, banded together with fellow artists, fellow videographers, merchandise designers, just to really show that this talentless city that you claim has a bevy of talent, has more talent than the industry is actually ready to handle at this moment.
Beast.
And how we're
just
doing what
beast.
needs to be done.
Beast.
Forcing everybody's hand. Yeah.
Beast. We just giving a shout out to Sleepaway. We just doing a shout out for Sleepaway.
Oh, good. Thank you, because I was like, I don't know. You ain't tell me. That's why I'm glad I did it first.
We just doing, yeah. So we're doing a shout out. So
those I did it first, though. I'm glad I did it first. But shouts out to Sleepaway, though. Definitely keep it up, man. Salute you out here. Teach.
Seep away. Swim all the way, because your ancestors are with you. Your ancestors, your great grandfather is with you. And I know all your other ancestors are looking down on you and empowering you. And I send you love. I send you strength. I send you power to master the water, power to master your opponents, and come out number one in the 2021 Olympic in Tokyo. We're rooting for you, and we're going to try to get some more money to you. I'm going to make a donation, and we're asking that everybody that's viewing to help Sleepaway on his journey. They're asking for $40,000, and so far he only has 10,000. And I know the Olympics, this is June. I don't know when they're taking place, but we need to hype up and get him this money. It's costing him to stay in these hotels. It's costing him to rent out the pool space. It's costing him to eat. It's costing him to train. And we have to get behind him. If we want Sleepaway to win, we need to open up our wallets. We need to open up our hearts. We need to dig deep and get the money to Sleepaway so he can have the optimum training. His age is against him, but his age is making history. And that's power in itself. By him entering into the Olympics at his age, he broke that record. So let him go on and finish it by us giving him the support that he needs. Don't let him go and be hungry in the water because he doesn't have food to eat. Don't let him sleep on the streets because he doesn't have any place to stay, because he doesn't have the money to pay for his lodging. People, Fade to Black members. Many of you get on Facebook and you donate to famous 501c3s, nonprofit organizations. These organizations have millions and billions of dollars. And you'll never see the benefit. I'm going to just tell you plain. You will never see the benefit, but psychologically you feel good because you gave to the muscular dystrophy or you gave to the Cancer Society. Those societies have money. They're going to always have money. All we have is Sleepaway. Let us take that $10, $20, $100, $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, and let's give it to Sleepaway. Let's put that money in Sleepaway's hand so he can use it to train, to travel. Tokyo is a long ways away from America. So let us put our monies together. Let us put a pledge together. If you can't do it all at once, every time you pay, say, here's 25 for Sleepaway, 25 for Sleepaway. That way he know we're putting our energy behind him. We're putting our power behind him. We're putting the money to sustain him in his hand. Don't let him be starving and naked. We have an opportunity to celebrate when he goes across that finish line. How many times does your favorite team win and you feel joy? You feel excited. Well, Seepaway has been a co-host on this show, and he brought in many viewers. And we're asking those same viewers to go deep down in your pockets and help Seepaway win the gold in Tokyo, because when he win, we win. That money that you give, you're not going to miss it. You're not going to miss it. Give to a good cause. Give to a cause that have come before you and that have spit knowledge before you, that have elevated you, that have told you things that you did not know, that have laid out a plan for the Black agenda like no one else has laid that plan out. Seepaway was a good panelist. People love Seepaway on the show. Love to argue with Seepaway on the show. So let's show them some love by opening up our pockets and sharing it with our friends, asking our friends to give $5, $10, $25, $100, $1,000, $1,500, whatever they feel in their heart to give. Let's talk to our celebrity friends, because once he win the gold, everybody is going to go behind him. But let's show him love on the front end. Let us show Seepaway that our energy is behind him, helping him when he get fatigued. He said 2 times that he was in the race and he had to be taken away to the hospital. Let us not let his body where the muscles constrict. I don't know exactly what caused him to go to the hospital, but we send the energy of good health, of a prime optimal body. We send the energy of a warrior. We send the energy of the gods of the water, the Orishas, Yimaya, and I can't think of the other one, but the gods and goddesses of the water, that they be with him, that he will outrace and outpace every single last one of the swimmers in that particular tournament. Let Sipaway win. We are behind you, Sipaway. We're going to put our energy behind you. We're putting our mind behind you, and we're putting our money behind you, because we want a win. And with that, we yield the floor.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm gonna keep it
Can I,
here
can
for a
I,
little bit.
can
Yeah,
I,
yeah, go ahead. That's why I want to bring us all in. So,
right.
but yeah, Mel, I'm gonna let you have the floor.
So I mean, so one thing is from the time I joined the show, I heard about my brother Sip Away. I never got a chance to meet him, and it was kind of sad I never got a chance to meet him. But sad that I've not met him yet. But we're gonna meet pretty soon. But one of the things I heard about him that made me always happy is that I'm told that a lot of folks said that I reminded them of him, and now watching this video, because this is actually the first time I've seen this, and I don't know why, but I definitely I'm about to give today, and at the same time, it's just with warm heartfelt that I feel like, man, this is a beautiful story. I mean, if you've seen any of those stories that is on ESPN or NBC or any of those sport networks, whenever it's time to watch sports, this is one that they can really cover and that will make sense. I mean, it's being able to use sports to take back what society has taken from our people, which long years of slavery and all the things we talked about so far today, and I've always talked about in our lives, and being able to take that back through actions is not hurting nobody, but through um, actions of sports, and how this brother is now living the dreams of his great of his parents and his predecessors. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to be part of the same show that he was on, and I look forward to meeting him. I look forward to him winning. Just him being in that water is winning. Just him taking on his actions winning. Don't feel pressured if you listen to us, brother, that you have to be the number one on the podium or on the gold medalist on this race. You've gotten your gold for being able to make this move. You're worth in the gold, the silver, the bronze. You're worth all that all together, as opposed to just one. So again, I congratulate you on an accomplishment, an achievement of being able to win before you even start the race. So just keep that in mind, and know that you got one more person here who loves you as much as everybody else on here loves you already. And we're gonna try to do all we can to keep pushing you. So keep going out there and keep on the winning tradition. Again, it's not only one race that you're running and to win. You run to win a lifestyle, to win a legacy, and you've already started winning. So you're in the winning tracks. Stay winning. Stay on the track. Stay the trail. Again, look forward to seeing you when you get back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sleep away. I guess we can't say too much because everything that needs to be said has been said. Now, when we come back, we're going to go into our segments. First, we're going to Africa. Teach will be up first. Second, we got a community to visit. Beast Community,
Yes.
hosted by Beast Johnson. And then last, everybody get your cocktails out. I even got my glass already. We going to Mayo's Lounge. After these commercial breaks, and once again, seep away. You're in our hearts, you're in our spirits. Go for the gold, conquer your dreams, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, yes, you do.
Spirit
Don't
bomb the
forget to
competition.
donate. Don't forget to donate. I'll donate $60, and I will donate some more to the cause because, like Teach said, these expenses ain't cheap. So seep away, keep that training. You're in our heart, you're in our soul, man. The ancestors are with you. Go out there and conquer your dreams. And with that, we will be right back with Teach.
Jumbo. Good evening, everyone. Do you like my background? This is Tanzania. Okay. This is June 4th, and this is the day that I was scheduled to leave to embark upon the Teaching Artists Institute, Summer Learning Institute, in conjunction with Tasuba University at Bagamoyo, Tanzania. But unfortunately, I had to cancel or at least delay going on the trip because, you know, the Summer Institute is from June the 7th until June the 21st. So I had to stay back and take care of some important business. And once that's taken care of, I will go ahead and join them in Tanzania. I just want to say that it is summertime. It's finally hot here. And I bought several swimsuits because you see, this was my hotel room, and you could see right through there. Well, is the beach. So my hotel was right on the beach. It was beautiful scenery each and every day. So I was ready with 5 brand new swimming suits to enjoy the warm sand because it is hot. The sand is actually hot to your feet. Got to wear some shoes to cover and protect your feet. And the cool, well, warm water because it's on the Indian Ocean. But nevertheless, I want to say something about the Tanzania, the East African slave trade that most people don't know about. In the city of Bagamoyo, that is one of the largest or the most known East African slave courts. And this city of Bagamoyo houses many of the ruins of the old German castles and state buildings and even slave holdings. So, if you're interested in the history of the East African slave trade, which actually fed into the West African slave trade, you would find it in Bagamoyo. One of the things that I found as a historian is that going to the location, going into the archives, going into the national libraries, going into the villages is where you're going to find the most relevant and pertinent information. You're going to find the information that's not printed up in official textbooks. You're going to find the information that is not biased by the writer, that has a specific aim that they want the people to gather. You're going to find the truth. You're going to find relatives, chiefs, uh, of government officials that know the history of their people, and they can tell it to you. So if this is something that interests you, then this is the place to go. Because before I went there, even as a historian, I only concentrated on the West African slave trade. And it wasn't until I was in Tanzania that I learned the history that the East African slave trade predated the West African slave trade. And actually, many of the slaves came through this East Africa and they were trekked across the continent all the way to West Africa and were shipped out into the Americas. And one of the things that you'll find that as you travel from country to country, if you live in the diaspora, when you go into different countries, you'll say, wow, that man looks like my neighbor, or he looks like someone I went to school with, or he went, or she looks like my auntie. You have that DNA recognition of people that you don't know. And I did not expect to find it in Tanzania, but I did. And the reason is because many of our people came from this particular area. Even though they came through the West African slave trade, they were taken from this area. So this is a whole area of history that has been underrepresented. And I have made it a vow that I will begin to include it and actually do more research to add to the plethora of knowledge that I already have on the West African slave trade. It's for sure you will go into countries and you see people like, who are these? What kind of people are these? I've never seen people that look like them. They're unidentifiable because you're not used to being around them. Like, say, for instance, the country of Ethiopia. I've been there many times, and they're beautiful people, but genetically, I can't identify them. I know them when I see them, but I would never say, oh, he looks like the boy next door or the man at the grocery store, because they were not in our geographical region in terms of the diaspora through the slave trade. But you go into Cameroon or Senegal or Mali, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Angola, the Congo, and you have that DNA recognition. So I want to say this one last thing, and I will yield the floor for the other segments, is that Seepaway, he talked about his father, and his father imparted into him from his father. And all of the men had some form of hobby or work that involved the water, that involved mastering the water. So when you see Seepaway, Seepaway is living out the dreams of his ancestors. He's living out the dream that his father imparted in him. He's living out the skill that his father imparted in him. And no doubt, when his children come along, he will impart it to them. And I like the way he put it, he brought it 360. He started with his great, 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 great grandfather, came to the Americas, and then he was the one that came back to Guinea-Bissau. And not only did he come back, he had that DNA recognition through the testing, and they celebrated him and took him as their own so that their country can be elevated and become part of the Olympics in 2021. That's a very powerful dream. That's a very powerful seed. That's a very powerful hope and aspiration. So again, we're talking about Africa, Guinea-Bissau, Seepaway, a man that is living out his dream, that's hearing the voice of his ancestors and making himself and his whole lineage proud. And with that, I yield the floor. For Harry Kukaona, goodbye until we meet again.
You know, every good, stable, functional community is the result of a process. There's a lot of inclusion and exclusion, additions and subtractions to really find the nice balance of individuals and talents and energies to make this particular community fruitful and prosperous. Sometimes you have to be the change or spark the change. Most of us nowadays expect the change to happen, to knock at your door, to rain down on you like blessings from heaven. When the reality of it is that change is usually acquired from leaps of faith and moments of change where you take it upon yourself to alter your life in a more prosperous manner. You take that moment to increase or decrease whatever virtues and vices no longer serve a purpose. I say that to talk about what I was ranting on earlier, the local artist movement. Since our particular radio station feels as though we do not have talent, we will come together and just show you how truly talented we are. Because in all honesty, we already know the individuals and the basic schematics to achieve what we need to achieve. It's just a matter of proper networking, building that community. understanding that some of the individuals and entities that were along for the ride may have to call this their final departure. This may be the end of the road for them in order to truly move forward and see that dream or see that vision come to fruition. Never, like I said earlier, never be scared of change. Embrace it, because it's what's necessary. The change is tough because we assume the change will not happen in certain avenues, and the avenues and areas where we assume change most likely wouldn't or shouldn't happen, that's exactly where the change is going to happen. Because change is meant to be uncomfortable. All you're doing is just rebalancing and realigning yourself. And nothing easy about that. If that was the case, everybody would do it for their own cars. There'd be no mechanics. There'd be no mechanic shops. Point being, we're taking the necessary steps to make that change within our community, to show the local artists that you don't have to always go the popular road or the most notable way. You can still achieve your dreams by taking the back way, taking the detour, or just making your own damn lane unto its own. But link yourself up with the right community that can enhance and accompany the talents and energies that you're bringing to the table, truly making that particular community a community to envy and aspire to. So shouts out to my peoples out here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Shouts out to the local artist movement, Heavy Handed, Tribe, Infinite, Fluid. I'm a little inebriated, so I ain't even gonna try to ramble off all the other names I can think off my head. But if you in Greensboro and you see this and you understand what the movement is and you buy it and you accept it and you acknowledge it, I'm talking to you. Shouts out to you. Much love to you. Thank you for helping make our community better. And with that, I yield the floor, and I hope you enjoyed your little time in my community. Feel free to stop on by anytime. Y'all have a good one.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I just love the music that gets us in. Sometimes I could play that for the rest of the time, but I always come in with my own music for the segment. I'm gonna make it short. I started with it about keeping on pushing. Y'all always know Curtis Mayfield. That's the one of the good guys that put soul on a whole different level. He explains soul, in his songs, and you can feel the struggle. And like I said, I started with this. I'm gonna end with this. My brother Sip Away. This is before you two. Everything we talked about today, our community. Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. That's what I hear it in my mind. This song in my mind every time I get it. I hear it snug when I'm doing anything. I hear it snug. That's what I need to. That's what I need to hear. Keep on pushing. It's just something that you have to appreciate being in 2021, knowing that this song was sang for folks back, in the 60s, 70s. I mean, no, it was not 60s, but I'm talking about different songs for the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And these songs were sang for folks who dealt with the struggles back then. Their struggle was 10 times worse than ours. It might be similar because right now we're getting shot in the street and they were being shot in the street back then too. But there's nothing like knowing that they just had that mindset that they're gonna keep on pushing, and that's what I'm asking. Y'all keep on pushing, you know. So I'm excited, you know, like to make sure that you know, like I get the message. I guess I thought we got cut off because of Facebook. But either way, keep on pushing. Hopefully the music is not causing us no trouble with Facebook, but just keep on pushing. That's all we got today.
Mail, that was my bad. So I'm working behind the scenes here, but see, if I wish I should have my little camera, but this is the one on my laptop. My I actually hit the mic, and the mic actually hit the mouse, and it made you get off the screen. So I apologize about that. My final thought is this: to I'm probably gonna butcher this saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway, and y'all gonna get what I'm trying to say is when the how can I say it? To make the dream work, the team got to work. I know I butchered it. Basically, if you have a good team, there is nothing that y'all can conquer. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. You know, it's one of those things, even though I just made that up. But y'all understand what I'm saying. I have myself a good panel and a good crew. That when one of us fall on the wayside, or if we have a little ordeal going on, we can pick up the slack, and y'all wouldn't even know that there was a problem. Y'all probably would just think, if with me getting off the show earlier today, actually I was working on I'm looking at different screens here. I got one from YouTube, then I got the other one here um on Facebook. So I'm working like behind the scenes here. So I'm actually looking at all types of screens and all that stuff, which Teach, thank you once again for leading us into commercial. So I'm working on behind the scenes stuff as well. And when you got the team still, not standing still, like, what's Morris doing? What's going on? But they kept going. That's when your team is. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate Teach. I appreciate Mayo. I appreciate Beast Johnson. I appreciate Sleepaway, who we talked about. I'm happy that we talked majority of this show on Sleepaway. And then even with Mr. Bragg, my bell buddy, and also with Professor O. With all of them, and for those who've been on the show and those who are still with the show, thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all make this dream work, not only for me, but it's also is helping in your lane with spreading your wings and shining your stars on people recognize you with this show, and then bringing it back here onto the show here, which is great, but also is helping you out in what your endeavors is doing. So I just want to do this final thought with y'all. I appreciate each and every one of you and what y'all contribute to the table. It's great just hearing, the news that, getting people on the show and how they are watching the show and how they're liking the show and how they, asking how we can get on the web network. And it's all thanks to each and every one of you. I wish I had this written down, all this stuff, but this is something coming off top of the head. But I just appreciate you and thank each and every one of y'all for contributing to the show. Thank you so very, very much. The show wouldn't be where it's at if it wasn't for, for what y'all contribute to the show. Thank y'all so, so very, very much. And with that, I yield the floor.
Okay, it's back to me again. Well, I'm just going to enjoy. I'm going to sit back on the beach, let my water massage my feet, and enjoy the heat of Africa. I will allow the sun to beam down on my skin, giving me a tan. Oh, sun, kiss me. Water, wrap me in nature. I'm just in a good mood. I'm just enjoying. This is Friday night. Mayo had the good music playing. I got the scenery setting the mood. What else do you want? Goodbye. Good night. Have a great weekend, everyone.
I know y'all heard the saying, yeah, from a couple movies, do something strange for a little piece of change. But in order to truly get some change in your life, you really ain't gotta do nothing strange. You just gotta live right, live open, live in a manner that allows that positive change to just fall into your lap or just rain down over your life in a manner that it takes you a while to realize that that change has occurred. Appreciate the love, McCary. Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the love to everybody that's watching the show. I appreciate the love and any change that we might have caused in your life for the better. I personally say on behalf of the panelists of the show, we are honored and we are happy that we are able to bring any bit of change into anyone's life, even if only momentarily, even if only minuscule. Change is change. It's just like 100 pennies worth of change can give you $1. A million minuscule moments of change could make a milestone of a movement. Ooh, that was a whole lot of rhyming. I like that. But anyway, you ain't got to do nothing strange for the change. Just embrace it. And with that, I yield the floor. Y'all have a good one.
So I play a cleanup tonight, in the batting um, range. So the thing I'm gonna just keep on talking about is that saying I said earlier during the show today, saying that it's human to err and it's divine to forgive, or that saying, to err is human and to forgive is divine. I like that saying a lot, and what I get out of that is that every day of my life I want to be divine. I don't want to be just average human being. So whatever it's not just about the forgiveness and all that stuff. It's about living a life that's exceptional to the point where average individual sees you and they can tell there's something about you that's not just the same. It's Michael Jackson feeling. It's the feeling of just the many spirit that we've felt in this world, that we know that these people are just not. It's the Dr. King spirit. It's and then not just this names I mentioned, but folks who've come and they sometimes they seem that they were just above the petty stuff. So if we can live above petty stuff, it will help us in our lives. And I plead to us that that we try to live above pettiness. We try to live like we understand that this is the only life we have, and we want to be remembered to be above just regular ordinary human beings. We came and we made ourselves better than what we were. Every area that we can sharpen ourselves, we did. Every area that we can grow, we did. So so it's about growing and growing with love, growing with feeling of uh, uh, I guess love is what it says it all. Is that Corinthians 2 Corinthians 13 or First Corinthians 13. Is that thing about love. And you know I guess love covers it all. So that's what that First Corinthians that does talks about love. But it's just that having that love in you enough to also have respect for human beings, have respect for souls, and make your soul one that that one everybody wants to be with, or like and have shame in yourself, and not be the way that our country has been, and like I said, in the sense of dominating folks. Be that one that talks to your country and tell them that you don't want them to represent you in those ways. You want them to represent you in the name of love, and not in the name of domination, or in the name of any kind of pain towards anybody else. So we can do that. Let's live that life. Let's push that out there. Let's be an active citizen, one that's above just again pettiness, and one that knows what love does and breathes love every time that they breathe through their mouth and nose. Let's love, let's live. Good night, everyone.
Hopefully everybody can hear that. You know, I had to. I had to.
The
This
lounge
is part of my
the
playlist.
lounge is still open. I love it.
So I had to play
Oh
this.
yeah.
I almost played the Pusher Man, but I was like, nah.
Now you gotta play
Go ahead,
Superfly. You
please.
gotta play.
You got Superfly. So since T said T was in the Friday Blue, I said, I might as well go ahead and jam it then. But ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Mr. Mayo, Money Never Sleeps, with Beast Charts, as well as Anita Joe, aka Teach, and me, your precious host, Dollar we are outro. We will see y'all Monday. And also, we will have a little bit of changes with the show as well. But let's go ahead and jab it on out. Y'all have a good one here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Remember, we control the net.
Drunk uncle in the building, baby. You got to do it right.
Hey, y'all have a good Friday. Don't spend that money in one place, okay? Try saving some.
Y'all be safe out here. I want to leave, but it's like I just want to let it ride out for a minute.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
I can't help it.
Hey, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go ahead and ride this one out. I'll catch y'all later. Y'all have a good one here. Bye, y'all. See y'all.
Y'all be easy, man.